Lauren Ivy is an amazing human being. She's also an intuitive business coach, and she uses human design in her work to help us align with who we really are. So Lauren and I talk a lot about that. She is the founder of Open to Alchemy, and she is the host of the Open to Alchemy podcast. And it is really fascinating to me to learn more about human design and how we can use the 5 energy types to understand the people in our lives, understand ourselves a lot better, and how to best use our energy so we're really connected, mind, body, and spirit. First of all, welcome to the show. The nurse also is so fun. So we have to talk about human design because that's how we met, and I've learned so much from you about my human design. But I thought, and we of course want to talk about the things that light you up and working with the entrepreneurs, because that's really your jam. Is helping.
Yes, I love. Yes, helping other people find their spark and just like let it grow and shine. And it's so special. I mean, we've talked about this. It's just when you feel a calling towards something and not knowing what to do with it. And there's so many messages and conditioning and limiting beliefs, and just, you know, gently, sometimes more forcefully, just like letting it out, opening up to that. It's really, I love that.
Yeah. Well, and you're fantastic at it. So that's good. That's helpful, right? Yeah. To be good at what you do. So I thought we should start though, but I'd love to get your thoughts on what is the soul? Like, where is the soul? What is the soul before we start diving in deeper?
That is a really good question. And, you know, it's funny because I, from a young age, used to pray. And I don't know where that came from. We were not a family, you know, that did that. That wasn't like a nightly ritual or anything. And so when I think back about being younger and just praying, asking for, you know, something, not things, but, you know, bigger life things, like that connection that I had just feels like the spark of my soul. I don't know where that came from. I don't know what the guidance was, but that element of listening to something that was in me and also bigger, larger, wider than me, and being able to, you know, have that inner, deeper connection and knowledge, you know, the thing that's always there, no matter what else is happening, no matter all the stuff that's being thrown at you. For me, it's just really this connection on a level that supersedes anything else that's happening, and is, you know, the most important, the most comforting, the most rewarding, the most opportunity for growth.
Yeah. So how did you end up working in the woo?
It's been a long, windy road. You know, when I was younger, when I was in school, you know, of course I wanted to be a fashion designer. I wanted to be a photographer. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a journalist. I always had this like creative spark. And I ended up going to school for marketing and advertising. Graduated college, moved to New York City, had a big, you know, ad agency career, and I loved it, and I was really good at it, and it was really fun, and it lit me up in so many ways. And it was all in the wellness space. It was like healthy food brands. We did like recipe development, but all like these big consumer brands that were pushing like wellness and health. And that's something that I've always been interested in. I mean, I had my first, you know, self-help book in high school, and I would work out to videos, and I started becoming vegetarian. Early on, I was just like really inclined towards wellness as this like big, I don't know what it means, but like I'm interested in that kind of kind of space. And then just throughout the journey, I had lots of unique to me experiences where I had messages and seeing things and feeling things and just this deeper sense, but again, not really having that modeled or having any sort of like community or relationship to discuss that, just like my own just inner voice being like, pursue this, explore this, follow this, and just kept listening to those little pings of, you know, guidance, which of course at the time I didn't know what that was. It was just like, that's interesting. I'll look into that.
Yeah.
I'll follow that. And so I continue to do that. I just, I'm a manifesting generator. We'll probably talk about this, but that's the energy type that just is that energy hummingbird. It's just like, I love this. I'm interested in that. It's multi-passionate. And I have just allowed that passion, despite the conditioning and pushing away from the conditioning that tells me that I'm non-committal and I have ADHD, which I might, or that it's flaky, or, oh my gosh, shiny new penny, shiny new object syndrome. That's a manifesting generator, truly. Like, that's what we are. We have all the balls in the air. We love all the things, but that has allowed me to explore woo on so many levels. And there's so many more things. Every day there's something new that pops in that I'm like, ooh, what's that all about?
Right. I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. So it is part woo, part work. It is work.
Yeah.
But the woo part, I was like, that's interesting that it doesn't sound like you grew up with that. It doesn't sound like you had a mentor saying, come this way. Yeah.
No. And it's funny that you mentioned that,
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes I think like, gosh, you can pinpoint certain crossroads in your life.
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes upon reflection, it's like, gosh, I wonder if I would have done that, what would happen? I wonder if that would have been, for good or bad. I just believe that you get there eventually. It's just, what road do you take?
Right.
But yeah, nobody that was like, oh, check this out or do this. I distinctly remember moving to New York, and I took my very first like proper yoga class, not like yoga in like the college gym, but like proper. And he loved like a long, like shavasana at the end. And he would just be like, quiet the mind, quiet the breath. And like sitting and doing that was the first time I was like, okay, this is somebody that like deeply is connected. And he would walk around and he would position us. And he was so into the meditative part versus like the exercise power yoga,
Right.
And that was like that was a turning point in terms of like mind, body, spirit connection for me, was that series of classes from that first yoga teacher.
Well, yeah. I mean, yoga in and of itself can really change people, but a really good yoga instructor can make a huge difference. And it just quiets us so then we can hear things. So that's pretty powerful stuff. Yeah. So then let's talk about human design, because it's so fun.
I know, it's so fun. It is so fun. So I, being the, manifesting generator that I am, was listening to a podcast, and I heard somebody talking, and they were sort of mentioning the different energy types. There's 5 different energy types. And they were describing me to a T, somebody that is multi-passionate, somebody that doesn't follow a straight line, somebody that, has all these different interests and likes to pivot and loves change and loves transformation. And like, I was like, what is happening? That is me. And I'm not broken because I have been this way. I'm not bad. I'm not wrong. Actually, I have been saying yes to all the things that I was supposed to be saying yes to, but never really felt right about it. I never really had that validation. And so, of course, because it resonated with me so deeply, all the bells and whistles, I was like, I've got to explore. And so I did. And I just did a deep dive. And then I did, personal, individual, private training. And then I did group training. And then I've just have now been doing this for a bunch of years and helping other people connect with their authentic self, connect with ease, connect with alignment and flow, and really, slowly and steadily disconnect from basically all that we've been taught.
Right. All the things we thought we should be and should do. And and for me, it was like a permission slip. I think a lot of people feel that way. It's like a permission slip to really just be who you authentically are. And it was a big shift for me. I mean, you know this because you have helped me. I mean, it's been and it's still, you know, I am somebody who spent 50 years before I met you, and I'm 51 now. So I've had a year of trying to change things a little bit, but I push and to learn I'm not supposed to be pushing. The best use of my energy is to allow it to come to me and respond. And I was like, oh, well, that's just different. So it can be a permission slip, but it's also, I'm not saying, I mean, there is ease once you would start really understanding it, but it's not easy to change to go, oh, I've had 50 years of doing it this way. Now I'm going to just pivot.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so glad that you shared that, because if you are looking for the quick fix, the instant gratification, there are elements that I think it's like an aha and it shifts and you're just like, oh, all right, well now I'm different. And it's totally, I get it. But they say that it takes 7 years of living in your design to completely decondition and, you know, separate yourself from all that we have taught and all the layers that we have, you know, just put on us. So definitely it is fun. Is it experimental? It is slow. It is steady. And I mean, I was just talking to somebody earlier and I was saying, even after all the work I do, probably on a daily basis, something will come in and I'm like, oh, okay. I see it differently, or I understand the way that's coming in, or I can feel that like, this isn't mine, this is theirs. Where like, you know, 6 months ago, I wouldn't have had that discernment. I wouldn't have made that connection. And it's just this beautiful, like unfolding and process of really getting to know yourself on this deeper, more intimate, more authentic level, and letting go of that judgment and letting go of that shame or guilt, or, you know, there's no good or bad. It just is. Like, what if I just let it be? What if I just was who I was? What would that be like? And when I say ease, I just want to clarify, I completely agree. It is not easy. It's the shift towards could it be easy? Can I find what's easy, versus being hooked into that struggle mentality that so many of us have subscribed to and been force fed, that if it's not hard, you're not doing it right. If it's not a struggle, it's not valuable. That's when I say ease, you know, for those listening, it's about, what do you find easy? What feels good? What feels natural? What feels fun? Like, maybe that's the thing. We're all like, you know, there's all this amazing stuff over here. And we're like, no, that's easy. That's coming to me too quickly. Let me go over here and make it really hard.
Yeah, that was me. Still, you know, and I'm a 6, so I'm a generator, just for people listening. So you can tell us about the 5. But as a generator and 6/2, I've got that 2 where I have natural abilities I have no idea that I have. So other people have to tell me what I'm, you know, oh, that's really natural for you, because that's not on the, you know. So yes, figuring out where is the ease, where is the joy, what does light me up? Because as a generator, that's more important. You know, I've figured out that that's more important than pretty much anything. Right. That's not lighting me up. I mean, you helped me. Just that one, I guess it's more of it's not a sentence, but it's a phrase or whatever, but just to, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And I was like, oh, I think my whole life is basically I don't really know. I don't. And you said, if it's an, I don't know, it's a not now. It may not be for, you know, and I thought I'm going to have to really look at my entire life, how I'm spending my day from, you know, sunrise to sunset. Oh, I mean, and beyond, really, but still, it's just a big shift.
Yeah. And it is a place of possibility. And what would it be like if I approach something this way? You know, not these, you know, hard and fast rules of like, this is the way you've got to approach it, but just to play with it. Because, you know, I'm sure everybody's different, but for me, it's like, you can hear about a concept, you can read about it, you can study about it. And then there's just this layer of embodiment that happens when you allow yourself that space of integration, when you do exactly what you're talking about. Like I love it if I'm just sit and I receive and I'm aware. How does this feel in my body? How does this come in? How does this land? And letting that sort of like permeate, you know, again, we all want it to be like, I want to fix it. I want to solve it. I want the answer. And even knowing that, like, you know, and again, I'm super obsessed with like nature and plant medicine and all that stuff now.
Yeah.
And so it's like looking to nature for those examples of natural cycles and natural seasons. And, you know, we just, can I just let it be? And that doesn't mean that you don't have goals and you don't work and you're not like, you know, achieving things.
Right.
But again, exactly what you're saying. It's just a shift of, is this lighting me up, you know, for a generator, a manifesting generator? How does this feel? Where do I feel this? You know, what, and again, going through that judgment of what does it mean if I say no to something? What does that say about me? That's a big one, because we want to be busy. We want to help other people. We want to be of service. We want other people to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that is amazing. But if it comes at the price of you not having any connection to your own unique spirit and joy, then that's not a good balance.
I agree. Absolutely. And I guess, you know, where I just got tingly when you were talking is, you know, it's the soul. So it's this connection to your authentic, what I might call a soul or higher, you know, source energy or whatever, but also it's the embodiment. It's in your body. I do resonate. If it either resonates or I can physically feel that. So it's not, you know, just this, it's a spiritual and also very physical kind of experience.
Yeah.
So
I totally resonate with that. Yeah, I definitely. And so often we are so busy and we fill our days and we don't take moments, like you are so beautiful and inspiring with your sunrise and your sunset, even in those 3-5 minutes a day, to feel what it is to just be with yourself. You can get more clarity, more downloads, more information in that than you could spend in a whole day doing all the things.
Yes, I agree. And the nature piece. So I've always kind of liked nature. I mean, I'm not a super outdoorsy girl, but I've always thought nature was important and turning to nature. But the cycles have really, and just understanding how our energy works, and human design was a piece of that, like just understanding that how my personal design, my energy, how best to use my energy. And that's what I think of it. I mean, I'm sure I
love that. But it's true. It's like I just had somebody on my podcast and they were talking about they're a plant spirit wisdom teacher, incredible. And she was talking about how, you know, nature is not always in spring and summer, you know, and the lessons that the things are not always blooming. Sometimes their leaves are falling. Sometimes they're totally quiet and they're just working beneath the surface. They're working, you know, the roots are working. Sometimes it's a period of rest. Sometimes it's a period of shedding. And there's just so many lessons that we can take. And yes, everybody's human design is different. And there's some people that are really, the cycles and the seasons are even more integral to their design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've been learning more, of course, because now, I mean, I first wanted to just know all about the generator and now I'm, you know, trying to learn more about and some of my clients are learning about their human design. So, and it's helpful for me to figure out how to approach them, because as a nutritional therapist, but we also do a lot of lifestyle stuff. And so for it to be a good match for them, because there is no one way, there is no one particular diet, one particular, you know, so that's been helpful. So they're projectors, manifestors, manifesting generators, and reflectors. Is that?
Yes, you got them. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I tell you, I've been studying a little bit, and I found out both of my children are projectors. So of course I've been like obsessively looking at trying to understand how to interact with them differently. And so it cannot, once you learn your own, and you start working with your own energy and just being more open, using it as kind of a permission slip to play around with the ideas, then you can start seeing your relationships and I just think it's fun, but it's also really effective.
Incredibly. It is like next level. I do something called a connection chart where I put two people together and you can see how they interact and how they exchange energy, where there are opportunities for growth, where are there potential challenges, where there is magic happening. There's 4 different ways that we connect with each other in the human design system. And for me, it is such an incredible modality for compassion, for empathy, for understanding. This is how I operate. This is how you operate. Some of us are just going to clash. Like it's not a personal thing. It's not something that I'm doing. It's not something that you're doing. It's just, there's times where we just line up energetically in a way that is challenging. So if you've experienced that, it's not in your head. If you've met with somebody or worked with someone, you're like, this is just a weird fit. It is most likely because of like the way you're aligning energetically. And also just to exactly what we said, work in family units is incredible to be able to understand your kids, your parents, your spouses, energy type, how they make decisions, where they are open, where you are open, how that energy exchanges is incredibly helpful, actionable. Yeah, I think it's definitely a game changer when it comes to interpersonal relationships. And that's really one of the core, tendencies, or one of the core things that human design is supposed to do, is that if we know about ourselves and if we are living in accordance with our design, then we fit together in this beautiful, cohesive family of, I'm a generator, I'm going to do my things. I'm a projector, I'm going to do my things. Or I'm a 2/4, I'm going to show up this way. I'm, have this gift, I have this skill. Like if we all just did the things that felt good and natural and easy and lit us up, then we would all be working together versus this very stressful at times, toxic at times, relationships that we have where we either want people to change, or we're trying to change for other people, or we're trying to do all the be and do all the things, versus letting people just show up and do what they're good at. Like we don't have to be good at all the things. We're not supposed to be good at everything. Right. Let's find our lane and really flourish in that and allow other people to do the same.
Right. Which is what I was like, yes, Lauren, yes, I want to do that.
Yes.
Help me do that. Because when you meet with people individually, you do lots of work with entrepreneurs and even solopreneurs. And so first is to learn my design, and then to figure out how to do that in work world, so that I'm working in a way that feels really good. And now applying it to the whole family, which is just, you're right. Like if you can there is a flow. If you can get in your lane where you flourish, it doesn't feel like you're swimming upstream all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I find myself, I get out of my lane, I get in my lane.
And that's what it's about.
This is feeling struggling. I'm probably not in my flow here.
Yeah, that's incredible that you're able to recognize that, because I think that is such a key part of just having that awareness that, okay, this is what it feels like when I feel in flow. This is what it feels like when I feel in struggle. Right. And how do I just keep coming back? It's like, the resilience thing. It's like, where are my tools? What are the things that I can do to ground myself, to bring myself into that state of peace or our harmony, or whatever is your, your mantra or your key word. We're searching for these things, but we're not taking the actions and doing the things that bring us that feeling. That's, and that's the human, I don't know, is it the human struggle? I guess,
I guess. Yeah. Where we just, first to recognize, and then to get yourself out of it. And you're right, the behaviors, the things, like what are the things that actually help you when you are out of flow, to get back in the flow, like nature, grounding, even just breath. Different people find different things to be helpful. Do we need to talk about the 5 elements? Do you think that would be helpful if people are listening and going, wait,
yeah, which one am I?
Probably.
Yeah,
I would be.
Yeah, and yeah, and I have a thing for a free chart on my website, and I connect it with manifestation because I know that's something that everybody loves. You can either be a specific or a non-specific manifester. So that's my little free chart offer. But yes, there are 5 energy types, and it really is who you are on an energetic basis. There's an element of your aura and how you show up and how you exchange with other people. So the generator and the manifesting generator are side by side. Some people group them together. I definitely pull them apart because there are similarities, but there's also, differences. But those are your sacral beings. Those are people that are, the busy builder, creator, like you generate your own energy, your own buzz, your own sort of like momentum and energy and that way. And then there is the projector, like your kiddos. So those are people who are here to see things from more of that bird's eye view, really find a niche, find like a way of improving things, doing things better, faster, smarter. It's like very much like this visionary mentor type energy. Right. And then there's the manifestors who are here to really like initiate, kickstart, like get things going, launch things. Like, these are people that are really here to like shake things up and get things going, but not sustain the work. And then the reflectors are the rarest type. So that's only 1% of the population. And those are people that are completely open. If you look at the human design chart, there's 9 different centers that can either be open, also called undefined, also called white, versus defined, colored, closed centers. So they are completely open. So they are really here to be a mirror, to reflect back the health of their relationships, community. And they are, like everybody, they're all unique beings, and there's, different gifts and different traits and qualities that everybody has. But just knowing your energy type can really help you understand how you're meant to find joy, how you're meant to work in the world, how you can use your energy in the most effective, aligned ways.
Right. And I just was thinking with the reflectors, it must be, I'm just thinking in the wellness space, like how important it would be as a reflector to have good people, clean, like healthy stuff around you, because that's what you're going to be reflecting. Yeah. Not that you can do that all the time, because that's the point, right? Is to be able to reflect back.
Right. And for their own wellness and health, to have lots of downtime and lots of rest and quiet and people. Boundaries. Yeah, because they are the chameleons. Because they take on everybody else's energy. One day they might show up as a projector. One day they might feel like a man gen. One day they're going to be a manifestor. They're sort of like always experiencing everybody else's way of being. And so for them, really taking the time to sort of sift through what they've picked up versus what is theirs is really incredibly crucial.
So from a wellness perspective, what about the others? What do you think is crucial for each one to protect their own well-being?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So for generators and manifesting generators, because we have this seemingly never-ending source of energy, go, really checking in with what lights you up so that you are not just so freely giving your energy to all the people and all the things. Sometimes people feel like, well, I'm a generator, like I'm never going to run out of energy. You can get burnt out 100% as a generator, and you can build a lot of resentment and a lot of frustration, because at the end of the day, you can have this very full resume. That's what my husband and I like to call. I'm like, what's your resume for today? What'd you get done? You love to have a list and cross it off. I do. It feels so good. Oh my God, give me all the things. And then you can feel drained, and you can feel like nothing on this list was actually for me, actually lit me up, actually felt aligned. So protecting that and learning to say no when feeling like you don't have anything to do could be the worst feeling a generator or a manifesting generator has experienced.
Yeah.
As you know, allowing the things to come in and trusting that new opportunities, new ideas, new friends, new things are always coming your way. The more you say no to the things that are not feeling, that you are not feeling, allows more of that to come in, both from this energetic universal perspective, and also just like to set up boundaries of like, that feels good, that doesn't feel good. Like, I'm okay to say no to the things that don't feel good. That is a huge shift for people. Like me, 100%. FOMO is a real condition.
Yeah. You don't want to miss out. I got you.
No, we don't. We want to be at all the things, and then you're drained. And so, so definitely for generators and manifesting generators. For projectors, it's really about using your energy in a way that is smarter and not harder. It's you don't have a never-ending reserve of energy. So it's making sure that you are being seen for what you have to offer, so that the right people are seeking you out, so that you're not there, beating your head against the wall or on the microphone. I can help you. Like, don't you see it the way I see it? The projectors are incredible and they have so much to offer and so much to give. And they can deplete their energy so quickly if they are trying to help everybody all the time and not hold on to that energy for the right people, the right place, the right message. It's a lot about just using your energy in a way that is smarter, and knowing that you need time to rest, recover, reset, all of that. It doesn't mean there is anything wrong. It means that you are meant for like your 3 hours can be what somebody else will take 10 hours to do. So like, that's okay. And breaking away from that conditioning that's like, I'm supposed to hustle and grind all day. That's what everybody else is doing. No, you're most designed to work like intensely, smartly, productively, and then take other time to read, enjoy, explore, dive deep on things.
Yeah.
Does that resonate for your kids?
Yeah, of course. I'm thinking about that. And I'm like, well, I'll rewatch this and we'll think about that later. Yeah. And then manifestors.
Yeah. So manifestors, because they have this like very like initiative, innovative energy. For them, first of all, informing is their strategy, which means that in order to sort of soften the energy around them, which can sometimes be polarizing because they move so quickly, like people around them are like, what are you doing now? What's happening?
Right.
And so just informing people, just letting people know what they're doing. And also that not everyone is going to be for you, and you are you. Don't dim your light. Don't hide your gifts. Don't like shrink and be afraid to share. Like, you are here for big things and for motivation and for like lighting that fire. And you are not here to sustain the work. So when you inform, when you let people know, you can invite a projector to come in and be like, ooh, I'm going to work on this piece. You can invite a generator and a manifesting generator in to be like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing. Now I'm going to build. Now I'm going to create. Now I'm going to do my thing. Manifestors are not meant to maintain that level of intense work. It's like a big burst. And then it's, again, some retreat, some quiet, some inner stuff.
Right. So all of us need boundaries, but for different reasons.
Definitely.
Different reasons. All of us need to work on our own health journey, but for different reasons. So that's interesting. Yeah. And so you really love working with entrepreneurs. That's kind of your jam. So you use this information and other things too. Like, yeah,
I do. It's funny because I have been an entrepreneur for my entire life. And it is I am learning, it is a different type of energy than what other people have. As soon as I could make my own money, as soon as I could wash a car, clean out a room, do something, I wanted to do that. I felt very strongly, and there's probably some past life stuff in this, Like I wanted to be responsible for my own income. I wanted to be able to like have an idea and do it. Again, very like generator, manifesting generator. Like I want to build something. I want to make something. I want to have something to show for what I'm doing.
Right.
And so I love creating. I love working on something and like, just like putting it out there and birthing it, and have had lots of different, businesses, and have worked even in corporate, situations in a very entrepreneurial, innovative, creative type, capacity. And so, yeah, I really love helping other people. And again, the word entrepreneur is so loaded, right? There's like so much that comes along with it. And I ask people like, how do you identify yourself? Maybe entrepreneur feels like, oh, I'm supposed to be like getting like seed money and like working like in this big way. To me, it's a small business owner. It's a solo practitioner. It's somebody that has an idea, a service, a product, and just wants, it's being connected to the work you do in the world from that soul purpose perspective. To me is what it means, that you have something inside of you that needs to come out, wants to come out. And you don't know potentially what to do. There's so much information out there about how to launch, how to market, content, all the social media, all the websites, all the things. And like, I just love to help people like pare that all back and like, what is it that you need to get started? What is it that feels good to you? Setting up a business that is going to support you and really like allow you to be sustainable and stay in that place of joy and fulfillment versus drain you. I love that people, they want to get away from their corporate jobs because it's like, it's all consuming and they're working all the time. And then they end up setting up a small business that is essentially the same thing, but now they're working for themselves. But that's something that needs, that we can shift, that we can work on through human design. I love to look at like Reiki elements and clearing chakras as it relates to business, and doing mindset work and timeline jumping and manifestation and all the things.
Yeah. All the fun things. Yeah. And it's, I think it's really helpful for people to have that kind of support, so that because you do want to live, I want to live in alignment with my soul. I want to live in that space of joy, as much as possible. Right. So I think most people would want that kind of freedom. What are some of the things where you see, because I was just thinking money when you said I wanted to make my own money, and I was thinking money is energy.
Yeah.
And so the exchange, and I thought, I wonder if that is something that comes up a lot where people, particularly as entrepreneurs, and why people don't necessarily make changes either in corporate or in wherever they're working or as entrepreneurs, because you have bills to pay and things to do. And so there's that conditioning. So I wondered, first of all, like, what are the things that really come up a lot for people where there's a block and you feel like you get to move things for people? And is money as big an issue as I think it is for most people?
It's funny. It is, and it isn't. I think that depending on how you have structured and set up your life,
right,
which is depending on your family really upbringing and or other conditioning and society, and we are all on some level of this consumerism, materialism scale. And so some people who are super inspiring to me have been able to really set up a life based on their values and priorities. Yeah. And by doing so, they are living in, this integrity with what they want. They have a belief and they are living in accordance with that. And so that can look very different than what the standard American dream is.
Right.
And I think it's incredible that more and more people are breaking away from, an identity that prides itself, only based on financial achievement and material things. And, I definitely am a person who lives in a beautiful home. I have worked hard. My husband has worked hard. We've been fortunate, in that regard. And I continue to find myself fighting to break away from, oh, well, I need to buy that, or we need to go to this place, or we need to have that, or this person's doing that. Should we be doing that? Separating from all of that. If we value freedom, if we value peace, if we value, whatever it is, then are we creating a life that supports that?
Right.
And that is where this big financial dichotomy comes in, because, and I was just listening to Braiding Sweetgrass. Like it's incredible. I don't know if you've read it before. It's an incredible book. And she's talking about, the way that society is sort of set up, and I'm paraphrasing completely, but like that we're not whole. And so we need things and, right. Expenses and a certain, life to fill that void, to fill that hole, to make us, and that's how, consumerism and commercialism works, is that, we don't have the thing that we want. Once we get the thing, then we're going to be better, and then everything's going to be fine. But then it's, as
right,
this never ending cycle. So all that to be said, I think there is this growing divide as it relates to what do I want and need financially, and what am I willing to give up and or hook into in order to get that.
Right. For sure. Yeah.
And that's very individual,
Yeah. And it sounds like you help people kind of tease all of that out. Are there other things that kind of come up a lot as where people, you just feel like you're always working on something with these business people?
Yeah, definitely. The people pleasing element, the wanting to serve everybody, the not wanting to, set up boundaries, to set up, hours that work best for you. If you have a family and you have evening commitments, not taking evening appointments is something that would probably be the best thing for you. And it's also hard to, shut down your calendar and say no to people. Pricing is an issue that comes up all the time because, especially people in this soul connected work, it's like you love this work so much and you feel so strongly that you would sit outside your door and talk to everybody for free. That's how I feel. I do. I'm like,
for sure.
I don't even,
that's my problem.
Yeah. I'm like, I'll just sit outside, come by, tell me your problem. I'll help you solve it.
Yeah.
Let's move along. Like, I'm good with that. And also exactly as you mentioned, there is that exchange of energy and thinking about what you offer as valuable. And that is like such a big element of like the self-worth work, self-worth work that needs to happen for you to be in alignment, in abundance, calling that in while still, doing your work in the world is like, it's a fun and also challenging place to explore. People want to be like, well, I've worked with them before. I'll do a friends and family, or I'll do an info call. And sometimes this happens to me. I have a free info call and it's supposed to be 15, 20 minutes. And the next thing you know, I'm loving this conversation. And now I've spent an hour of my time. So how does that happen? It's like, you have to work on it.
Yes. Those are all things I can relate to and have had conversations with other colleagues about. I mean, these are the things. And you even had a post pretty recently, a little while ago, about perhaps the lack of clarity could be a lack of worthiness, like this feeling of, and I think, that's definitely been something I've been working with too, is when you don't feel clear, do you feel worthy?
Right. And are you using that subconsciously as
Yes.
a way of pushing away. The other thing too that's coming in is this sort of, coming out of the spiritual closet, or feeling safe and comfortable in, sharing your gifts or talking about things that maybe nobody in your family has ever talked about, or nobody in your intimate community. And that's, again, something that I personally deal with. And I know is very, prevalent, that it's like, is it okay if I talk about this? Maybe I'm raised religiously. So can I talk about, past lives, or the soul or spirit, or like what's okay and what's not okay, and what will people think of me? And that's another big one where, knowing more about yourself and feeling empowered to share your magic is another thing that I come across a lot. And again, that is like an ever unfolding. Like, I don't think that any of these things you're like, okay,
I'm
gonna cross that out. Right. It comes around, you see it differently. You're like, dang, didn't we do this last year? Why are you back again?
Yeah. In counseling, I used to talk about that all the time too. It's like, how many empty chairs do I have to talk to? How many, like how many times is this going to come around? It just keeps coming around, and that's okay. Because it also, to me, kind of the visual is it goes around, but it also goes deeper and wider and deeper. And so I always thought when I was young, we were going up, and it was going to be like this cha-chung, 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 and you could mark things off as you move up. And I have not found that to actually be true in terms of a spiritual life, that it's more of a deepening and widening. Like, we're not going up anywhere.
Right.
There's nowhere to go.
Because you hear like, oh, you ascension, like we're ascending, we're awakening, we're opening. And that's such a beautiful visual. And I will definitely be calling that in the future, that it's just like, it's like another ring, another star, another seed, another like element of, expansion, versus like, I'm climbing the ladder and I'm getting somewhere. Like, I mean, sometimes it feels like that, and you're like, oh, look at the view from up here. This is fabulous. And then you're like, and now I'm back down here.
Right. And then it's, that was my experience. I mean, I'm happy for some of my achievements, and I think, people can celebrate achievements, but you typically will climb, get there, and realize that you're nowhere. You're just here now with this achievement, which is great. And also, it's an interesting feeling. But I think it also goes back to what you were saying. If we don't feel whole, if we don't see ourselves as whole, then we're always looking, we're always grabbing for the next achievement, the next thing, the next, person, job, title, degree for some of us.
Right. Certification, like, follow. Right. And again, it's not that we're doing anything wrong. Like, that is being like fed to us, like on a moment by moment basis. Like, of course we feel that way.
Right.
And part of that might be your design, and you are driven in a certain way and love, that sense of achievement. And maybe that's part of who you are. And maybe, it's your astrology, or maybe it's your tendency, or maybe it's your Enneagram. I mean, there's all of these incredible, awareness modalities. And so the more again, and I love that you're exploring this. It's just so you can be like, okay, does this feel true to me? Does this feel like it fits me? Or am I like, how do I take this? This is a good way to look at it. We want to know our purpose. We want to feel like we're in it. And it's like, day by day, am I taking one step closer to feeling like I am in alignment? Like, this is right for me, good for me, taking me, it's very hard, I think, for a lot of people to like see the growth day by day. It's like upon reflection, but the work happens day by day. The work happens every moment, every morning, when you're like, okay, I'm going to wake up, because I know that seeing the sunrise is so integral to who I am and how I'm healthy.
Right.
And there's no getting around doing the action that makes you feel the thing. Right. I mean, that's the work.
Right. Yeah. And there's no fast route. you've got to do the work, but also what I keep coming back to, because it is this alignment that's very self-oriented, so that you can serve, so that we are in this beautiful connection, like, so that we're this big, I don't know, tapestry where all the different pieces, but if everyone's in alignment with who they really are and living from that authentic place, then we have so much more to give, and so much. Yeah. And then there's a peace and an ease with the environments around us. So, right.
I love that. Yeah. And just being the best of who you can be, and to look around, and it's okay to be like, wow, they're doing it that way. That's really cool. Maybe I'll try that. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but like, we can't live anybody else's best life. We just can't, we're not all meant to be, J-Lo or,
sadly,
Brad Pitt or whatever. Right. We're just like it, but what's my best version? What does that look like for me, in this lifetime, in this iteration, which is all happening at the same time and all that stuff.
I know, which is, and
that's mind blowing. I can't even.
Mind blowing. And to really, to some of it, you need to grieve, because if you've always wanted to be Brad Pitt, at some point you realize you're not going to be Brad Pitt. There might be some grief around that, and you don't have to shove that down. Like when you learn who you really are and you're more authentically in alignment, yes, there's beauty to that, but there's also some grieving, I think, that could happen.
That's so true. And the more we learn and heal and accept this time, maybe we'll be Brad Pitt next time. Who knows?
Right. You can put your order in now, I think.
Right. I'm doing all this work now. So next time it's like, I already start at this place, and then that's, potential.
I know we could talk about all of that too, like Akashic readings and past lives and all of the things, but we'll just leave that for another time. We have other things. But I really wanted to hear more about what nourishes your soul, because you're somebody who's helping all these other people. And as a manifesting generator, that's obviously in alignment for you to be go. But then what really helps you nourish your own soul?
Yeah, I love that question. So for me, definitely starting with the body and eating healthy, not, being sober or being alcohol free, doing all of those like movement, really, when my body doesn't feel good, it's hard to show up in any capacity. So all of that, and again, people are like, well, that's not really that important. I'm sure you deal with this all the time. Or like people like, oh, it's selfish to like do this. And I'm like, no, that is like vital. Like that's the key of who we are, is to like be healthy, whole individual bodies.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But the plant world and being in nature, going for a walk with my pup, or just sitting outside, or just noticing and being observant of, the sounds, the sights, the smells, the textures, the colors, all of that immersion in nature. And again, I live in the middle of Atlanta, which is so wonderful because it's the city in the forest. So literally from every window I see green, which I know is like such a blessing. And also you don't need to hike in the middle of the redwood forest. If you go outside, or if you're inside and you have a plant that you love, that can be enough of a natural nature connection to ground you, to like help you with those feelings. But yeah, I'm all about the plant stuff right now. And all the woo. I love the woo. I love meditating and journaling and learning and exploring and connecting with people like you and other people that are just like, on this journey, this path, and are just, keeping up the good fight.
Yeah. And I love that. And I think I've watched you on social media, so I know that you're walking the walk, walking the talk, whatever.
I don't know.
You're doing the things that really help, that you're trying to help other people do. So that's beautiful. And, Open to Alchemy is the name of your business. And to me, being open to change, to an internal shifting. But alchemy, what does that mean to you? Open to alchemy.
Yeah. So it's really about exactly what you said. It's being open to that transformation, open to the possibilities, you know, looking at life from the lens of possibility and also of empowerment. Like, you are the magic. Like, yes, it's incredible to learn about these different things, but it's also that you can pull it inward and just remember your soul, your spirit, your magic wisdom. Like, we have been here before. We have done this before. We have probably conquered a whole lot more than we are, you know, and maybe this is just a life that is really tough and is really challenging, and you've had ease before. Like, I don't, you know, everybody has a different, you know, different iteration, but just really opening yourself up to what is possible when you say yes to yourself in this like really aligned, authentic way.
Yeah, I love that. So Open to Alchemy is your website, but also your podcast too. So people can learn all about more stuff, which is really fun. So that I'll make sure that we link all of these things so that people can find you. I'm just so grateful because I always love our conversations. And I've really appreciated learning from you because you have a nice way of helping people ease their way into it so that they can take so we can digest it, I guess.
Yeah, it can be a lot. As you know, once you like open that like door to any of these modalities, it's like, you know, you can sort of can go way deep. But thank you so much. I love, you know, our chats, and I'm so honored to be with you here today and to, you know, share this with anybody. And anything that I can do to help people, you know, just reconnect with that inner light is my true gift.
Yes. And yeah, me too. That's to be a light, to do the healing, and then to offer the medicine. That's yeah. So thank you so much.